Welcome to the summary of episode 14 of the Reading Finnegans Wake in 200 Sessions podcast. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. All right, today we're doing something, well, kind of nuts. We're tackling James Joyce's Finnegans Wake, famously one of the most difficult books ever written, and we're going to do it by unpacking the mysteries of just a single page.
So right from the get-go, Joyce just throws us into this world of pure uncertainty. We land in a scene where, as the book itself says, the sword of certainty never falls. Basically, nothing is stable, nothing is fixed, and that starts with the identity of our main character.
So, if we can't be sure of anything, how in the world are we supposed to understand this story? Well, let's treat it like a detective case. We're going to piece together all the weird and wonderful clues Joyce leaves for us about this mystery man.
Okay, so our first clue, or lack of one, has to do with identity itself. Who is this guy? The text immediately tells us that figuring him out is a slopperish matter, which is a great way of saying it's a slippery, messy business.
And a big reason it's so slippery is his face, which Joyce calls his cloudy fizz. It's this brilliant made-up word, right? A cloudy face, one that you just can't bring into focus because it's always changing.
In fact, Joyce tells us the man's ego has frequently altered with the passing of the showers. His entire sense of self shifts like the weather. He's now covered in warts and wrinkles, and he's got this huge beard Joyce calls a fungal park. You know, like a park made of fungus. He's almost totally unrecognizable.
So his face is a mystery. Maybe his background can give us something more solid. We learn he's an Irish native, a Meathman, who's now living in a quiet English garden. But the most incredible clue of all, it's his accent.
The book describes how he speaks with this absolutely wild line. I know, it looks like total gibberish at first, but believe me, it is packed with meaning.
Okay, let's dive into this because this is a perfect example of Joyce's genius at work. Crogs and brins are just Joyce's way of spelling the Welsh words for rock and hill. So part of his accent, the actual sound of his voice, is literally the landscape of Wales.
But it gets so much deeper. The Silurian Ordovicius were ancient Welsh tribes who actually fought the Romans. But, and this is the amazing part, they are also the names of two geological periods from over 400 million years ago, when the bedrock of Wales was first forming.
I mean, just think about what Joyce is doing here. He's layering everything together. This man's accent isn't just Irish or Welsh, it is prehistoric. It has the history of ancient tribes and the deep geological time of the Earth itself. His voice is, quite literally, as old as the hills.
All right, after that mind-bending trip through deep time, let's see if his clothes can give us some more straightforward clues. Spoiler alert, they absolutely do not.
The man is wearing this truly bizarre outfit. It's got a scratch wig, which is like a cheap wig for comedy shows, 18th century coats, a super formal neckcloth, and then just baggy pants and slippers.
His whole outfit is this mishmash of different time periods, making it impossible to pin him down. And Joyce's wordplay just adds to the confusion. Take regrettable oxter. It's a classic Joycean pun. He's mashing up regatta, a boat race, regrettable, and oxter, an old Irish word for an armpit.
This kind of wordplay is just everywhere, packing contradictory meanings into single phrases. But just when you think the riddles can't get any stranger, the story itself takes a major twist.
So, three kids come up to this odd guy and ask him for a ghost story, about a legendary figure called the Haberdasher, who is really a stand-in for the book's main character, HCE. The Storyteller, now called His Revenances, which means a ghost or someone who's returned from the dead, gets up to tell the tale.
But as he starts talking, something really strange happens. The text starts describing the clothes of the character in the story, HCE. A wide beaver hat, a fancy necktie, a huge overcoat, patched trousers. But hang on, these descriptions feel just as specific and weird as the storyteller's own clothes.
The storyteller and the character in his story are starting to merge. The lines between them completely blur, and the mystery of who's who just gets deeper, not clearer. And this leads us to the final, brilliant revelation. So why all this confusion? Why make it impossible to tell these characters apart? Well, the great mythologist Joseph Campbell, in his guide to the book, explains it perfectly. He says that Joyce has mixed all the stories and all the characters together in a great broth. And that is the secret to the entire book. In Finnegans Wake, identity isn't fixed. A character isn't just one person. They are these fluid composites flowing into one another. The storyteller is the character in his story. The man in the park is an ancient hero. Everyone is a reincarnation of everyone else.
See, Joyce isn't just telling the story of one person. He's trying to do the impossible, tell the story of everyone, all at once across all of history. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative final question. If every character is just a blend of everyone who came before, what does that say about who we are?
Understanding this one idea, that identity is a river, not a rock, that's the key. It's what unlocks the door to this beautiful, maddening, and ultimately profound book. Thanks for digging into it with us.